Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I will not be doing any swatching and I will not be reviewing any palettes or any other art materials. I'm going to be talking a little bit about how I have been using my traveler's journal as an artist. I'll also be talking a little bit about how I work and what do I actually do as an artist. Because I don't think I've actually talked about it that much within the 2 years that I have been doing YouTube videos about what do I actually do as an artist. And also I will be I will be doing some watercolor work in my sketchbook. I've done kind of some sketches. I thought it would be fun to just color them in together on video. So without further ado, let's begin. So before I begin talking about my traveler's notebook and how I have set it up and why I have set it up in the way I have, does that make sense? I think it does. I'm going to explain a little bit about what I do as an artist. So every month I have a Patreon, and every month I send my patrons a story, and which I have written, and with that story I send an illustration as well. These are all physical, these go in the post to them, and when they begin their Patreon journey with me, I send them a folder and they add the story and the illustration, or they can frame the illustration. They can do what they wish to do with the illustration, but they can add it to their folder, so they can build up a collection of stories and illustrations. And that is very briefly what I do as an artist, and I love my job and I owe it to my patrons completely. I wouldn't be able to do it without them, so thank you patrons so much. I love you all very, very much. So that is what I do. Now back to my traveler's notebook. So I have added 3 inserts / notebooks in this traveler's journal, and the first insert is a grid insert or notebook, however you would like to call it. And here I write ideas for my stories and ideas for my Patreon. So these were some ideas for my story, the Erie Isle, or the Isle of Erie, as it turned out to be. And here are some ideas for my Patreon tutorials, because I do a monthly drawing tutorial there, and just random ideas. This is a catch-all basically for anything idea-wise for my Patreon. My second insert is a watercolor insert, which I had a lot of trouble finding a review about these once I was looking for an insert like this to add to my notebook. I couldn't for the life of me find a review of this watercolor insert by Traveler's Company, sorry. The paper in this insert is hot pressed. It is a very smooth paper. It is by no means the best quality watercolor paper that you will find, but it does the job. And for me, it does it well because it takes my micron pen, very well. So I've been really enjoying using it, and it takes watercolor very well. For my needs, it has been really good. I'll show you. Here, for instance, I have done some ink exercises, pen exercises. I don't know what you would like to call them. I was just doodling different textures using my pen. And here are some sketches I did, basically using my pen and some watercolor. I was just browsing through the internet looking for interesting looking buildings and sketching them as an exercise. I just want to add here, because I've added a note so that I can remember. These are little sculptures created by an artist called Yukihiro Akama. These, and I thought they were so cute, so I sketched them. So I've been using this as somewhere where I can just express myself without worrying that it has to be perfect. Though, as you will see, it is by no means perfect. Here, for instance, it is very haphazard. Just putting colours and sketches for a tutorial I was going to do. Here I was just sketching again, and I must have made a mistake here, so I just stuck a bit of one of my stories in there. I was testing something here. This here is a chart of my deep light colours, because I love deep light colours and I need my colours to go with me wherever I go. And yeah, and we will be basically later on doing some colouring in of some sketches I did in this watercolour insert, so that you can see also how it reacts to watercolour and what it's like. And the third and final insert is it's basically it's a brainstorming insert. This is just very normal thin paper that takes pen very well. It's just their, I think it's just their blank paper insert. And on one side I have been doing brainstorming for, here I was doing brainstorming for the Hagstone Isle, one of my maps, and here I was just doodling. Yeah, just doodling while I was probably listening to a audiobook. To be fair, most of this work in here, apart from the writing, has been done listening to an audiobook. And at this time of year, it's usually ghost stories that I listen to, so spooky audiobooks, but old world ghost stories, because I don't like gore. Anyway, that's besides the point. Yeah, just using it as somewhere to brainstorm and just doodle. Now, that's how I use my traveler's notebook, and I've been really happy with it. I've been happy with its functionality, that I can actually have somewhere where I can write my ideas. I can also doodle my inspirations, where I just see something and go, oh, that looks really nice. That works. That is a really interesting form. Those are interesting colours. I'll store that in my second brain so that I can carry it around with me for inspiration. But I can also use it as somewhere where I do my exercises, I can sketch textures and things that I find interesting, or I'm just exploring my art materials. And this is what I thought would be fun to do some colouring in today. This is just a page where I was sitting down doodling, literally doodling stuff, just images either from the internet or reference pictures from books that I have, or my imagination. I just use my imagination. For instance, this angel, I was doing a sketch for a tutorial. It's most likely that my patrons will be voting for a tutorial of angel drawings this month on my Patreon, and I was just basically warming up for the tutorial, just doing an idea of it, and then it escalated. I filled the whole page with random stuff. You have berries, you have hummingbird moths, you have a goose, you have a hedgehog, and then I realized that everything was connected because everything kind of reminded me of winter, so I named it Pieces of Winter. So yeah, and I will be continuing doing that throughout this book, this little booklet, and my other booklets, because I've really found that it's an easy way for me to keep all my ideas and all my spontaneous ideas in one place, so that I can look back on them and work on from there. So that is how I use my traveler's journal. And the second part of this video will be me basically colouring in some of these images here together. We'll do that together. Disclaimer, I did add this as a relaxing video to the poll I put up for my patrons, but it looks like they won't vote for it. They're voting for the angel drawings, I think, this month. So I thought, why not do it here? Why not do it on YouTube? Just the second part of this video will be just a relaxing colouring in of my little doodle sketches. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to it. I'll set everything up. I'll bring some water and my brushes and so on, and probably move the table again because the sun is encroaching. And I will be back in a jiffy. I am back, and welcome back to part 2 of this video. So we shall begin working on these 2 pages and colouring in my little doodles. And I thought I'd begin with doing this piece up here, which is the title of the 2 pages, Pieces of Winter. So I've got some Van Dyke Brown by Schminker, and I'm just going to add some shadows here and here and let that dry. And while that's drying, I'll take this same Van Dyke Brown and maybe add some to my goose. Okay. I had to get Baloo off the table because he's being very affectionate this morning, and he wants to come onto the table and join in the process of doing the colouring in, which I'm a bit worried about. However, if he does join, oh boy, he's on the move. I think we'll be fine. I hope we'll be fine. Anyway, so yeah, I'm using some of this Van Dyke Brown just to add some shadows to various areas that I want to colour in later. You can see this paper really does accept the paint very well. I know it isn't 100% cotton, but for what it is, it does the job very well. Just adding some shadows. So I've added some to my goose. I've added some up there. I forgot to mention what kind of watercolours I'm using. I'm using my core palette, which has various watercolours that I use over and over again, and I have also my deep light palette here, which I absolutely love and I use every day. So I'm using familiar tools to do this, so there isn't much guesswork when applying the colours. Go in and add a little bit more shadow. I like this Van Dyke Brown especially because it matches my pen, the colour of my pen should I say, very well. And if I was going to do monochrome work, I think I would choose this and just my pen, I'd be happy with the result. Soften that a bit. I do love drawing. I do get carried away when I have a pen in my hand. I can't seem to stop. I like exploring forms, lines, textures with my pen. I'm very comfortable using a pen. I'm even more comfortable using a pen than using a pencil, to be fair. Which is odd, and I don't know how to explain it. It just feels much more natural to use than a pencil. If you said that to me like years and years ago, I totally wouldn't understand it. I'd say no, I don't think that would ever happen. But it's probably because I use it so much, and it's just become very natural to use. Soften a bit the shadows. I'm just bouncing off different areas here. Going back to my mushroom. I think that if I could, I would 100% do videos just me drawing in my in my sketchbooks, mostly colouring in, because when I draw, I'm very focused on what I'm doing, and I wouldn't be able to talk a lot. I'm kind of very absorbed. It's almost like meditation for me. It's almost like meditation for me, and I get lost in the line and the forms. So talking, I think I'd get too distracted. However, I do listen to audiobooks when I'm drawing, but I think I can phase out the voices from the audiobook when I need to, when I need to really, really concentrate on what I'm doing. So I don't mind that much, but on video, I think drawing, I'm not quite there yet, I think, on YouTube. With my patrons, I feel much more relaxed because it's a closed circle of people that I know. And on YouTube, I feel like I have stage fright with drawing. I'm hoping to overcome that one day, maybe. Disclaimer, I'm going to be rambling a lot about nothing while I'm doing this. So forgive me. Okay, so let's go back to that. That has dried. I'm going to be adding a little bit of my Naples Yellow by Winsor & Newton to the edges here. This is how I also do my watercolour swatches. So adding some Naples Yellow and then softening it. Would you like me to do more painting, as in my sketchbook? Because I'd be more than happy to do that. Just sketching in my, or not sketching, colouring in my sketchbook, in my, in my journal. As I said, I don't know how ready I am to do lots of drawing online. It's silly though, because I'm so relaxed with my patrons. I must overcome it. But for now, would you be happier if I did more like working like this in my sketchbook? Or, you know, are you happy as with things how they are at the moment? Let me know, I'd be interested. Okay. I'm going to add a bit more Naples yellow. So, yesterday we had a very, very nasty storm. I say nasty because it flooded my studio. The floor was completely covered in puddles of water. It was a storm that had hailstones in it, and it froze the pipes and the drainage. So I spent all day yesterday. I was going to film yesterday, but I spent all day yesterday basically slowly removing water from my studio. Thankfully, it's nice and dry now. And we may have a storm later on, but I'm hoping one without hailstones, because that was so difficult yesterday. I was absolutely destroyed by the end of the day, just by trying to remove the water. Physically destroyed, I mean, my legs were just, and almost unable to move because of that. But thankfully I'm better today. And there wasn't much destruction. There weren't things that actually got destroyed during the storm, so it was on the floor. The water was all on the floor, and it didn't get to my sketchbooks or colours or anything, so that was good. That was a relief. It was such a bizarre storm though. The hailstones were huge. They were massive and relentless, and the storm lasted quite a bit. We do need water on our little island, but we don't need the distraction. So I'm hoping for gentler rainfall in the future. Okay, so I've added some shadows here and to this. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to colour in my little goose, and then I'm going to go into the mushroom, and perhaps we'll move on to other things later. So my little goosey here has dried, so I can start adding some colour. And I made some notes when I was doing the doodling to what colours were on the picture. So the neck was black, so I'm going to use some of this Mother Earth, which isn't black, but it is very nice bluish grey. And I'm just going to add some to the head and the neck of my goose. Just soften it a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to let that dry, and if I want to put more colour I'll add it when it has dried. The back was raw umber. I put raw umber, but I think I'm going to use this natural umber by Deep Deep Light. Which is a really lovely kind of neutral brown. In sketches like this, you don't really need to put a lot of colour. The white that you leave is as important as the colour that you apply. And I think this bit, it says the front of the goose, it says buff, but I think I'm going to use some of this bent grass by Deep Deep Light, which is like this raw sienna colour, which I really like as well. So you really don't need much colour at all, especially when you're going to add the first layer. Honestly, you could just leave it like this, that would be fine, but if you want it to be a little bit more vibrant, you can add a second layer afterwards, or even a third. And the underneath here is going to be green, but what green should I use? I think from looking at my colours here, I think I'm going to use bilberry. Oh no, sorry, rhubarb. Bilberries are violet. Another very pretty green. Just add it underneath as somewhere where my goosey can stand. Okay, that's fine. That needs to dry before I apply any other colours to it. Has my mushroom dried here? I think it has. My note on the colour for the cap of the mushroom is autumn orange with darker areas. So what kind of orange should I use for autumn orange? I think I'm going to use English red. Okay, Baloo has joined us. Baloo, please sit down carefully. Good boy. He's joined us and he is at the edge of the table. So, I have here some of my watercolour squares just to test my colours before I add them. So, as I said autumn orange. I might want to mix that with some rose hip. Good boy, good boy. I think that works. So I'm going to just, I think, mix on the page some rose hip and English red. See how it looks. Good boy, Baloo. He's down. He's off the table. And he is in his bed. I don't know if you heard that. Every time he jumps off a surface, he'll do an to, I don't know, to announce that he has done that he has jumped off. Okay, so this is the artist's life. Just chaos in the studio. I sometimes am tempted to edit these bits out, but I thought I shouldn't, because this is basically how life is. This is it. This is what life is, with all the chaos and everything. Okay, so I have a little bit of a mixture there going, and I'll continue mixing on the page as I go on. So I'm going to just add some of this colour mixture down my brush, He was terrified yesterday with the storm. Poor baby. He was under the sofa. And I had to give him lots of cuddles afterwards to calm him down. But he's a happy boy today. I think he's forgot about it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as it is, and then I'm going to come and add colour to it later. I'm going to do the same here. Clean my brush, dab my brush, and just make sure that the area in the middle doesn't have a lot of colour. And I'll be back. Now let's go back to our goose. I'm going to take some of this Mother Earth. I'm going to go in with a second layer. Being careful to preserve some of the lighter area in the middle of the neck there. Doing the same on the head. And we had natural umber, I believe, was the back feathers. Let's add a little bit more. And the top, in the front of the goose, we had some of this bent grass. I didn't make a note of what the little feet colour is, but I assume they're black, so I'm going to just do that as well. Use some of this Mother Earth and go in. Again, preserving a little bit of a highlight there. There we go. And I think the beak was black as well. Again, preserving a tiny bit of highlight there. I'm going to need to clear this up a little bit. There we go. That's fine. And I'm going to take some of this rhubarb, just add a little bit more under my goose. And wait for that to dry. And yeah, I think my mushroom is dry now, so I can go back to that. I'm going to take some rose hip, add a little bit more to my mixture. Move the colour a little bit further in for that lighter area. Take my brush, wash it, and add some water as well. Same here underneath. Wash my brush, dab it so that it's drier. A little bit of a stray brush hair there. And wait for that to dry. So now I'm waiting for 2 areas to dry. Should we try doing the bird as well? Lots of hopping about here, literally from one little drawing to the other. But that's one thing that I like about having various drawings on the go. I don't have to wait for and not do anything while I'm waiting for watercolour to dry. And it is very important that your watercolour dries in between layers if you're working with layers. Right, it dries completely, and then you go and apply a different layer on top. So okay, let's do that. That's, oh no, that's umber. I need my Van Dyke brown for that. Okay. You could use this natural umber instead of the Van Dyke brown. However, the Van Dyke brown is more staining than the umber, and I usually like non-staining colours because I work slowly. But if you're going to do an underneath layer of a shadow, it can be useful for the colour to be staining so that it stays put when you apply a different layer on top of it. So you're sure you're not going to smudge the brown into whatever you're going to apply on top. Okay. Let's add a little bit of shadow under there. And Baloo is in his bed sleeping. That is good. My goodness, last video, it was so chaotic. Thank you all for being so understanding. I was just like, I was almost not going to post that, I think. At some point I was going, really? This looks so unprofessional. But it is a reflection of what really goes on in the studio. So that's why I posted it. There we go. Right, I'm going to let everything dry a little bit and then come back to add some more colour. My mushroom has dried, so I'm going to go and add a little bit more colour. So this paper does take layers well. I think it can take like layers up to like 5 layers of watercolour. It will take fine. And there'll be no pilling or anything. It might even take more. But as I do just colouring in my my doodles, haven't really done like multi-layered stuff in here. I'm not sure, but so far like 5 layers have been fine. And I want to add some green to the grasses here. What green should I use? I think I'm going to use wagon green. Let's pick some of this wagon green up. I'm going to use a different brush, I think. I'm going to use this Tintoretto, which I've been really enjoying using. This was from a Gallo. It was a gift, it was a birthday gift, along with a palette from a Gallo. I've been really enjoying it. So I'm just going to maybe I should have been doing this rather. Yeah, going in the wrong direction there. Much more natural looking. I'm going to turn this a little bit. Yep, much better. I'm using only a tiny bit of colour. Doesn't really need much. Okay, I think that's okay. Shall we go to our birdie? Now, the colours I added to my birdie here as notes was grey, and I think I'm going to use this Mother Earth again. I don't want to use too many different kind of blacks or greys or anything. I don't want to use too many colours in what I'm doing here because I want it to be cohesive. I want it to have a link to each other, all the images to be linked, kind of. So there's an echo of colouring going in here, if that makes sense. I'm going to use some of this grey. It's Mother Earth. Yep. Oh boy. See, I did a mistake there. I just went over some colour, some area I didn't want to. Okay. Here we go. And the back was orange, so I'm going to use some of this mixture that I did for my mushrooms, my little ones here. A little bit more. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And the front of the bird, it says black. So I'm going to use still Mother Earth, but more colour. I'm sorry I bumped you there with my glasses. Bumped the camera with my glasses. Okay. And this area, it says brown, so I'm going to use some of that raw, not that raw umber, that natural umber. Yeah. Okay. And I think the back was black, that little bit of the tail there, if I remember correctly. I'm going to do that. I'm back and it has begun to rain. Just praying no hailstones with the rain. So where was I? I was going to add a little bit of this natural umber and do some texture on the feathers here. Just adding a little bit more interest. Do I need it anywhere else? Oh yes, I was going to do some lines here. It's raining, but there's sun, so there might be a rainbow on the horizon, which would be nice. Ah yes, and here we were going to put some orange. Very thankful that I had some notes on for the colours that were on the images. That just helps me a lot to choose what I'm going to use. Okay, very light layer of orange there, and I'll come and enhance it later. And the beak says that it is black, but I don't think I want to do it black because it's just going to get lost. So I might do brown. I'll just do the beak, that natural umber I have. Poetic license here. Yeah, I think it's just going to look better. That's white. I think that was white in the image. I'm going to come and add here some orange later on. Then I went to this and this image on top, which is like some mistletoe. And I got some of this forest green, one of my favourite greens. And started just doing the leaves. Just leaving some highlights. These are imaginary highlights. I have no idea what they were on the picture. If it was a picture. I don't even remember if this was a picture or if it was from my imagination. I think it might have been a mixture of both. I might have just seen a sprig of mistletoe and just interpret it in my way. Okay, I'm going to come back and add a little bit more colour later on. For the actual mistletoe, I can't say it. I'm going to use, what should I put? I didn't put a picture, I didn't put a note for the colour of the mistletoe, but I think it's like a pale orange green, very, very pale colour. So, I think I'm going to use that butterfly, possibly with a little bit of green. I'll probably add it here to this. Not sure now. Maybe I should just go with the bent grass and a little bit of green instead of the butterfly. I'm going to use a little bit of this rhubarb. Yeah, that's better, I think. I've got my squares here and I'm not using them. Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, that's better. Just leaving a little bit of a highlight on my actual mistletoe as well. We don't really have mistletoe here, think it's a bit too cold, too hot for mistletoe. So if I'm getting the colour wrong, please forgive me. But from photos that I've seen, and we do have like fake mistletoe a lot here, so that I think that is close to the colour. And the rain stopped. It was a very gentle rain. Total opposite of yesterday. My goodness, yesterday. Getting some extreme weather phenomena here lately. Hope it doesn't persist through whole of winter, because we're going to struggle up here. Who would have thought we could get flooded with being on a mountain? But you can. You can absolutely... It can absolutely happen. Okay, so I'm going to do the sprigs. Again, leaving a little bit of a highlight. Okay. I am going to come in later and add a little bit more green to just a few of the leaves to give it a little bit more interest, so the leaves aren't uniform. But I'll just leave it there for now. Now for that leaf there, as you can see, I'm just jumping from one doodle to the other. I'm going to use a mixture of this rhubarb and forest green. And when I say mixture, I'm going to use it on the paper. There's various ways you can mix watercolour. One of the ways is mixing directly on paper. So I'm going to do this. You can come on top and do some fixing if you think that needs fixing. Just add a little bit there. Add a little bit more of this forest green to one side because shadows. And a little bit of this natural umber again. Just a touch of it there. Okay, I don't know for how long I've been filming. I think I've been filming for a very long time. So I might just leave it here as the clouds are coming in as well. However, if you would like to see me doing more of this colouring in this page, let me know, because I would love to. I just love chilling out with you and just painting with my favourite colours in a sketchbook that I'm really enjoying. If you do enjoy this, please let me know. I know that I have a couple of reviews coming up, and I think that's it. I don't have any more reviews after that. So I'm going to have like plenty of time to just spend with you, just working my sketchbook, if that is what you would like me to be doing on video, if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, I'll find something else to do, obviously, for you. But if you're enjoying it, if you enjoy this chill kind of environment of just drawing along with me, that would be absolutely fantastic. I would love that. For more in-depth tutorials, you can sign up to my Patreon. I do more in-depth tutorials there. This month I will be doing not a angel, I'll be doing angels, most likely, from the poll that I have put up for my patrons. It looks like that subject is winning. And if you want, you can get stories as well and illustrations every month from me if you join my Patreon. But I think I'm going to leave you here now. I'm going to say my awkward bit, which is, if you like this video, please hit the like button because that helps the video's visibility. If you would like to see more videos like this and watercolor reviews mainly, because I love watercolors, subscribe and hit the notification button so that YouTube will let you know when I have a new video uploaded. Leave me a comment. Would you like to see more of this? Is this something that interests you? If reviews are more your thing, then I'll just focus completely on doing that. Just let me know so that you guide me towards what you would like to see. And before I go, obviously, I'm going to say my little bit about hope, which is, do not let go of it. Please, please, please hold on to that hope. That is the most important thing. Keep going, no matter what, just keep going. I'm holding on to hope right there with you. I love you guys. Keep safe, keep creative. I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now. Bye.